I was 17 when I first heard them laughing, not the warm kind of laugh that fills a house, the sharp kind, the kind that slices right through a wall. Did you see his grades? My father said, his voice half muffled by the door. The boy's living in a dream. He'll never make it. My mother's laugh followed, soft but heavy. He's still young, Daniel. Let him dream a little. A little?
What?
He's 17 and still talking about building his own company. He can't even fix a leaking pipe. I stood outside their room, my hand frozen on the doorknob. I whispered to myself, "Don't listen, just walk away." But I didn't. He doesn't understand real life, Dad said again. When I was his age, I worked 10 hours a day. It just sits with that damn notebook, sketching watches and writing nonsense. My chest tightened. Sketching nonsense he'll learn, my mother said softly. Maybe he'll surprise us. Surprise us? He let out a laugh that sounded more like a growl. The only surprise will be if he pays rent one day. I couldn't breathe. I stepped back, slowly, afraid the floorboards would give me away. The laughter inside faded into small talk, dinner, work, the usual. But I didn't hear a word of it. I went to my room, shut the door, and sat on the floor. The clock ticked loud enough to fill the silence. When Mom knocked later, I pretended to be asleep. "Ethan," she whispered. "You okay?" "Yeah," I said quietly. "You didn't eat dinner." "Not hungry." "Don't stay up too late," she said, her voice trailing off. I waited until her footsteps disappeared. Then I whispered to the ceiling. They think I'm useless. I wasn't angry. Not yet. The next morning at breakfast, my father sat with his newspaper. He didn't look up. "Morning," I said. He grunted. "Morning." Mom smiled like nothing had happened. "You're leaving early?" "Yeah, I've got a project to finish." "What project?" Dad asked without looking up. "The watch design, the one I told you about." He laughed under his breath. "Still on that? Huh?" "Yeah. You can't live off dreams, Ethan." "Not trying to." He folded his paper finally, his eyes sharp. "Then stop wasting time. Apply for the factory job like I told you." "I don't want that." "You think life gives you what you want?" Mom touched his arm. "Daniel, no," he snapped. "He needs to hear it. The world doesn't care about your ideas, Ethan. It cares about what you can do, what you can earn." I clenched my jaw. "Then I'll earn it my way." He scoffed again. "Your way?" "Sure. Just don't come crying when the world teaches you a lesson." I grabbed my bag and left before I said something I'd regret. Outside, the air was cold. The morning sun hit. The wet street, and I could still hear their voices echoing in my head. "He'll never make it." At school, my friend Liam asked, "You look dead, man. You sleep at all?" "Not really." "Parents again?" I nodded. "They don't believe I can do anything." He shrugged. "Then prove them wrong." I smiled weakly. "Yeah, that's the plan." But inside, I didn't believe myself. That night I sat by my window sketching again, a watch design shaped like a compass. I wanted it to remind me of direction, of purpose. My pencil trembled, but I kept drawing. Mom came in quietly, still working. "Yeah," she looked at the sketches. "These are beautiful, Ethan." I smiled faintly. "Thanks." She hesitated. "You know, your father just wants what's best for you, I know. He's not good at saying it nicely." I looked up at her. "Do you think I can make it?" She opened her mouth, then stopped. "I think you'll learn a lot trying." It wasn't the answer I wanted, but it was honest. After she left, I stared at the clock again. "Midnight," I whispered. "Something they'll see." I didn't realize it then, but that night became the first promise I ever kept, and it started with a laugh behind a door. When I first stepped off the bus at 19, the city smelled like rain and gasoline. My bag was half open, my wallet half empty, and my heart full of stupid confidence. Liam met me at the corner of a coffee shop. "You actually came," he said, grinning. "Welcome to freedom." "Freedom's expensive," I muttered, staring at the rent notice taped to his apartment door. He laughed. "Relax. We'll figure it out. I've got a job interview tomorrow. You'll find something too." I nodded, though I had no idea where to start. "You sure we can handle the rent?" "Totally," he said. We just need to survive the first month. We didn't too. 2 weeks later, Liam's job didn't work out, and the rent reminder looked meaner each day. We ate noodles twice a day, sometimes once. One night I said, "We can't keep this up." Liam groaned from the couch. "You worry too much, 'cause the landlord's about to throw us out." "He won't." I talked to him. "What did you say?" "That we're between opportunities." I stared at him. "You mean unemployed?" He smirked. "Same thing, but fancier." "Ah," I sighed. "Liam, this isn't a joke." "Then lighten up, man. You're always so serious, because someone has to be." Silence filled the room. The fridge hummed like it was mocking us. Later that week, I found a part-time job at a small convenience store. The pay was terrible, but I could afford bread again. When I told Liam, he said, "See? I told you things would work out." "Barely," I replied. "We're still behind on rent." He waved me off. "You think too much?" Maybe I did, but someone had to think. One evening, after my shift, I came home drenched in rain. Liam was playing video games. "Did you look for a job today?" I asked. He paused the game. "Yeah, kind of. I sent an email. One email." "Hey, progress is progress." "Progress doesn't pay bills, Liam." He frowned. "You think I'm useless?" I hesitated. "I think you don't take this seriously." "Sorry, I'm not perfect like you." "I'm not perfect. I'm starving." Let's shut him up. 3 days later, I was out of cash again. I skipped meals, told myself it was fine. By the third night, I couldn't sleep. My stomach growled like it hated me. I texted my mom, doing fine. "Busy with work?" She replied, "Proud of you, son." I almost laughed. If only she knew. The next morning, Liam handed me half a sandwich. "Eat. You look like you're dying." "Thanks," I muttered. "You should have told me you were broke." I didn't want pity. He chuckled. "Pity, dude? We're both broke. No one's pitying anyone here." That made me smile for the first time in days. By the end of the month, we owed 2 weeks' rent. The landlord banged on the door like he meant to break it. I'm serious this time. He shouted, "You pay tomorrow, or you're out." Liam whispered, "We'll pay tomorrow, I swear." When the door shut, I turned to him. "With what money?" He looked away. "I'll borrow from a friend." "Which friend?" "I'll find one." That night, we sat in silence, the city lights bleeding through the thin curtains. I said quietly, "Maybe this city isn't for us." "Don't say that," Liam said. "You're the one who believed in it." "Still do," I said. "But believing doesn't fill your stomach." He leaned back. "You ever think about going home?" "No. Why not?" "Because if I go back now, I'll prove them right." He nodded slowly. "Then we stay." We stayed. I worked 2 jobs after that, store clerk by day, delivery by night. Liam helped when he could, but mostly he talked about the big break that never came. One rainy night, I came home soaked again, shoes squishing with every step. Liam was asleep on the couch. The lights from the street painted his face blue. I whispered to myself, "They laughed at me once. One day they'll see." I sat by the window, looking at the city that didn't care whether I lived or died. It was cruel and alive and full of noise. Still, I loved it because it was mine now. I pressed my forehead to the cold glass and made a promise. I'll make them eat those words, not with hate, but with proof. The cafe smelled like burnt coffee and regret. I'd been working there 3 weeks, wiping tables, refilling sugar jars, pretending tips could save me. She came in one evening, laptop open before she even sat down. Long brown hair, focused eyes, the kind of person who looked like she actually belonged somewhere, Americano, right? I asked after her 3rd visit. She looked up, surprised. "You remember? It's not hard when you're the only one who doesn't complain about the coffee." She smiled. "Maybe I'm just polite, or desperate," I said. She laughed. "Maybe both." That was the first real laugh I'd heard in weeks. Every evening after that, she showed up. Same corner table, same drink. I started timing my breaks around her visits. One night she asked, "You always this quiet?" "I talk when people listen." "Fair," she said. closing her laptop. What do you do besides survive this place? I hesitated. Design? Design what? Watches. Her brows rose. Like real ones. Trying to handmade, show me, I can't. Not here.
Oh.
She grinned. You've got sketches somewhere, don't you? Maybe bring them tomorrow. I wanted to say no, but something about her voice made it impossible. The next day, I slid my old sketchbook across the counter. She flipped through it carefully, like it was something precious. These are good, she said. You drew all this? Yeah, she pointed to one. This one's beautiful. What's it called? Compass. Why? It reminds me to keep direction, even when everything else falls apart. She looked at me for a long second. That's deep. Or dramatic, I said. She smiled. Dramatic's fine. That's where art lives. That line stuck with me all night. A week later, she asked, why not start an online store? I can't even pay rent. Start small. You've got talent, Ethan. I froze. You know my name? You wear a tag, she said, smirking. But I was going to ask eventually. I laughed. Fair enough. What about you? You come here every night too. Suffer with bad Wi-Fi? I'm a freelance designer, she said. I like the noise. Makes me feel less alone. Guess we both like broken places, I said. She tilted her head. Broken people build stronger things. Something in my chest stirred hope. Maybe days passed. The cafe became less miserable. We talked about everything. Art, cities, failure. She listened, like my words mattered. No one ever did that before. One slow night, she leaned across the counter. You know, you've got that thing. What thing? That fire. The one people try to bury under doubt. She chuckled. You're a little too good at pep talks. Someone's gotta be. Do your parents support your designs? They think it's a waste of time. Her eyes softened. Then prove them wrong. I'm trying. Try louder. I blinked. What? Build something so loud they can't ignore it? I stared at her. You really think I can? I don't think... I know. Her confidence felt like sunlight. When her coffee went cold, she stood. You'll do it, Ethan. I can see it. Why do you care? She smiled. Because I've been where you are. Someone believed in me once. I'm just returning the favor. After she left, I found myself smiling like an idiot. That night I opened my laptop and searched how to start an online brand. Every click felt like a heartbeat. The next day, when she walked in, I said, I did it. Did what? Registered a name. Kronos & Co. She grinned. Told you. You just needed a stage. I nodded. You were right. I usually am. The first time, I believed it, not just in her words, but in myself. I still remember the day the orders started pouring in. Notifications filled my phone like rain. Kronos & Co. was finally alive. Liam burst through the door shouting, We did it! Ethan, we freaking did it. I laughed for the first time in months. Yeah, man. It's finally happening. He tossed a box of cheap champagne on the table. We're going to be rich. Slow down, I said. We're not there yet. Pop the cork anyway, spraying foam across the walls. Don't kill the mood, partner. I smiled. All right. To us, he grinned. To us for a while, everything was good. Late nights, endless packing, sleepless excitement. But then the money came in. That's when things started to shift. One night, I found him on a call whispering, Yeah, I'll send the files tonight.
Who's that?
I asked, he jumped. No one. Just a supplier. You sound nervous. 'Cause you're always watching me, man. Chill. Frowned. We're supposed to be transparent, remember? Yeah, he said flatly. We are. The next morning, the account was empty. Every dollar we had vanished. My inbox exploded with messages from furious customers and one investor demanding answers. I called Liam 30 times. No answer. By noon, he blocked me. My hands shook so bad, I dropped my phone twice. I sat there staring at the empty balance, whispering he wouldn't do this, he wouldn't. But he did. By the third day, I was sleeping in the cafe storage room. Sophia noticed the dark circles under my eyes. "You okay?" she asked. "Yeah, just tired." "You're lying." I didn't respond. "Ethan, talk to me." I exhaled. "Liam took everything." Her eyes widened. "What?" "He sold the designs, the account, everything. He's gone." She covered her mouth. "Oh my God. I was stupid. I trusted him. You didn't deserve that." "Maybe I did," I said bitterly. "My parents warned me. Everyone did." She grabbed my arm. "Stop. This isn't your fault. It feels like it." Her voice softened. "What are you going to do?" "I don't know," she sighed. "Then start with breathing." I laughed weakly. "You sound like a therapist. I sound like someone who doesn't want to see you give up." But that night, I almost did. I lay on the cold floor staring at the ceiling, listening to the hum of the refrigerator. My life fit inside one backpack again. The next morning, my phone buzzed. Unknown number, Ethan. It was my father. "Hey, your mother saw something online." "What happened?" "Nothing." "Don't lie." "The company gone?" "Yeah." He sighed heavily. "We told you this would happen." I closed my eyes. "Yeah, you did. You should have taken the factory job. You'd have stability." "Thanks for the pep talk, Dad. I'm not trying to hurt you. I'm trying to wake you up. I'm already awake. Too awake." "Then come home," he said. "Stop chasing nonsense." "I can't." "Why not?" "Because this nonsense is all I have." He didn't reply. Just a quiet, disappointed breath before the line went dead. I sat there staring at the phone. His words hurt more than Liam's theft. Betrayal from a friend cuts deep, but disappointment from family, that's bone deep. Later that evening, Sophia found me again. "You didn't go home," she said softly. "I don't deserve to." "Stop saying that." "It's true." "I failed everyone." She shook her head. "No, Liam failed you. You tried." I met her eyes. "Trying doesn't pay bills. Neither does giving up," she shot back. I laughed bitterly. "You really don't give up on me, do you?" "Not planning to." Her confidence felt unreal. I wanted to believe her, but all I could think was, maybe they were right. Maybe I really am a fool. She touched my hand. "Then prove them wrong again." "I don't know if I have the strength." "Then borrow mine," she said. Something broke inside me, not from pain, but from relief. I didn't cry, though I wanted to. I just whispered, "Thanks." She smiled faintly. "Get some sleep. Tomorrow, we start again." That night, I closed my eyes and promised myself, if I ever rise again, I'll never let anyone take it from me. Not Liam, not my parents. No one. The world went quiet after Liam vanished. No calls, no noise, just silence that scraped at my ears. Sophia found me 2 days later, hunched over a broken desk in the cafe's storage room. "You look like hell," she said. "I've seen worse. I doubt it." I didn't answer. My throat felt heavy. She looked around. "This is where you've been staying?" "Just for a while." She sighed. "You're not staying here anymore. I don't have anywhere else to go." "You do now." "Come on," I tried to protest. "Sophia, no arguments," she said firmly. "Grab your stuff." I had one bag. That was my entire life. At her apartment, she made me sit on the couch. "You hungry?" "Not really." She rolled her eyes. "That's not what I asked." I said, "I'm fine." "Liar," she muttered, handing me a plate anyway. The smell of warm pasta made my chest ache. I hadn't eaten properly in days. After a few bites, I whispered, "You don't have to do this." "I know." "Then why?" "Because you would have done the same for me." I didn't argue. Maybe she was right. The next morning, she tossed a notepad at me. "Write down what you need to start again." I stared at it. "Start again? You still have your hands, right?" I nodded slowly. "Then start making watches again." "No one's going to buy for me now. Then we'll sell quietly," she said. "One watch at a time. No investors. No middlemen. Just you and me."
I blinked.
"You're serious?" "Completely." I laughed softly. You're insane. It's probably, she said, grinning. But so are you. That was the first time I smiled in weeks. We cleared her dining table and turned it into a workshop. The sound of tools replaced the noise in my head. For the first time since the betrayal, I felt steady. Days turned into weeks. We sold our first watch to a friend of hers. She handed me the cash. Your first sale. I stared at it. Feels small? It's not. You think this will really work? I think it already is. I held the money tightly. I don't care if it's slow. As long as it's real. That's the spirit, she said. We packed each watch with care, no fancy boxes, just brown paper and tape. I liked it that way. Honest. Simple. Sometimes she'd catch me staring into space and say, "What are you thinking?" That I wasted too much time chasing approval. I'd answer, she'd smile. Welcome to adulthood. One night after a long day of work, she asked, "Do you still want them to see you succeed?" I thought about my parents, about Liam. Not really, I said. I just want to build something that lasts. She nodded slowly. Good success doesn't need applause. It needs endurance. Her words hit deep. The silence between us wasn't heavy anymore. It felt calm. Earned, each sale felt like a small piece of redemption. Each late night reminded me that rebuilding isn't loud. It's slow, steady, quiet. I no longer dreamed of proving anyone wrong. I just wanted to wake up and keep working. One night as we sealed another package, I looked at her and said, "You saved me." She shook her head. "No, Ethan, you saved yourself. I just handed you the hammer." For once I believed it, asterisk. 3 years later, my name was finally worth something. Kronos & Co. was in magazines, store windows, and investor inboxes. But none of it felt real. Sophia leaned against the counter one morning, holding her coffee. "You realize you just made more money in a week than we did our first year?" "Yeah," I said, checking the sales dashboard. "Weird, isn't it?" "Weird. Good. Good. Sure." She narrowed her eyes. "That didn't sound convincing." "I don't know. It just feels heavy. Success. Yeah, everyone wants a piece of it now." "That's what you wanted. I wanted peace, not pieces." "You're getting poetic in your old age. I'm 22. Exactly." The phone buzzed. "Another investor." I ignored it. "You're avoiding calls again," Sophia said. "I'm tired of people pretending they believe in me just because I make money." She sipped her coffee. "Then meet someone who doesn't pretend." That's how I met Mr. Owens. He was old school, gray suit, steel watch, steady eyes. He shook my hand like he meant it. "You're younger than I expected," he said. "You're older than I expected," I replied. He chuckled. "Good. You've got fire." "I've got coffee," I said. "Same thing if you use it right." He looked around the office, small, messy, alive. "You built this from scratch, with stubbornness and borrowed furniture." I like that," he said. "You remind me of myself at your age." "Did your parents believe in you?" I asked before I could stop myself. He smiled faintly. "Not until the newspaper did." I nodded. "Yeah, that sounds familiar." He studied me for a moment. "You're still chasing their approval, aren't you?" "I'm not," I said quickly. He raised a brow. "You just lied to me and yourself at the same time. Impressive." I sighed. "I just thought they'd call by now." "They will when they need to," he said. "Not when you need them to." The truth stung more than I wanted to admit. Later that night, Sophia found me staring at my phone. "Still nothing?" she asked. "Birthday text from Mom," I said. "No call. She wrote something at least. Hope you're eating well." "That's not pride. That's nutrition advice." She smiled sadly. Maybe that's her way of saying she cares. But it still feels empty. She sat beside me. "You built a whole company from nothing, Ethan. You don't owe them pride." "I don't want to owe them anything. I just wanted them to see me." She placed her hand over mine. "I see you." For a second, that was enough. The next morning, Mr. Owens visited the workshop. "You ever slow down?" he asked. "Not really. It's a mistake," he said. "If you don't pause, success becomes a treadmill. Not built to stop, he smiled. Then learn. Stopping isn't quitting, it's breathing. Sophia nodded beside him. He's right. I sighed. You too should start a podcast. Owens laughed. Fine, but you'll be our first guest. The man who forgot to rest. Catchy, I said. He looked serious again. I mean it, son. Don't let ambition become your cage. He left, Sophia whispered. He cares about you. He sees a business opportunity. No, she said. He sees himself. That night, we walked through the quiet city streets. Neon lights painted her hair blue and gold. You ever feel like you're running out of time? I asked. She smiled. You own a watch company? You literally sell time. Ironic, isn't it? Completely. Looked up at the skyline. 3 years ago, I was sleeping in a cafe. Now I have everything I wanted, but... She asked, but it doesn't feel like enough, because success doesn't fill the silence, she said softly. I glanced at her. You always know what to say. That's my job. Thought your job was design. She shrugged. Design, therapy, same thing when you're around. I laughed quietly. Thanks for keeping me sane. Someone has to. When we got home, I sat by the window watching the city lights flicker. For once, I didn't feel pressure to move. I just breathed. Maybe Mr. Owens was right. Success wasn't about applause, it was about endurance. And I was still learning how to carry its weight. I was reviewing designs when my phone buzzed. The name made my chest tighten. Emma. I hesitated before answering. Hey, Ethan. Finally. I thought you'd ignore me again. I've been busy. Sure, she said, teasing. Too busy to come home? I paused. Why? Dad's turning 60 next week. Mom's planning a small dinner. They want you there. They want me there. Yes, you. The prodigal son. I laughed dryly. Pretty sure that story ends with judgment, not dinner. She sighed. Ethan, please. It's just one evening. I don't know if they even want to see me. They do, she said quietly. Even if they don't know how to say it. I rubbed my temples. I'll think about it. Translation, no. Translation, maybe. That night I told Sophia she was sketching at the counter when I said Emma called. She looked up. And my dad's birthday. They want me to come home. She tilted her head. You going? I don't think so. Why not? Because walking into that house feels like walking into an old wound. Maybe it's time to see if it's healed. Ow. I shook my head. They don't want me, Sophia. They want proof I didn't fail. She put her pencil down. Then show them who you are now. Sometimes silence hurts more than words. Go. Her tone left no room for argument. So I went. When I pulled into the old driveway, the house looked smaller. The paint had faded, the garden was overgrown. I used to think this place was enormous. Now it just looked tired. Emma ran out first. You actually came. I smiled. Don't sound so shocked. She hugged me tight. You look expensive. I laughed. It's just a jacket. Yeah, but the car says otherwise. Don't start. Relax. I'm proud of you, she said. Come on. Everyone's waiting. Inside, the air smelled like the past. The same furniture, the same faint lemon polish. My mother appeared from the kitchen, her hands still damp. Ethan, she said softly. Hi, Mom. She looked at me for a long time before stepping forward and hugging me. You look healthy. Trying my best. My father entered a moment later. His hair was gray now, his shoulders less square. Son, he said. Voice low. Dad. We stood there, measuring the years in silence. You came, he finally said. I did. Good. It wasn't much, but it was something. Dinner was quiet. The table felt smaller, too. Emma chatted nervously about work, trying to fill the silence. My mother asked about the company. My father mostly listened. So, Mom said, Kronos & Co., that's yours? Yeah, that's wonderful, she said. I saw your ad online. Beautiful watches. Thanks, I said. Dad cleared his throat. Doing well? Better than I ever expected. He nodded once, chewing slowly. Good. That single word carried years of weight. Emma smiled awkwardly. See, this isn't so bad, I smirked. Give it time. Later, as guests arrived, old neighbors, family friends, the whispers began. That's Daniel's boy? The one with the company? He's done well for himself. I caught my father's expression. He didn't look proud. He looked unsettled. When our eyes met, he looked away. Emma leaned toward me. They all talk about you now. Funny, I said. They didn't when I needed them to. People remember success, not struggle, she whispered. Then let them remember the silence too. I said by the end of dinner, my father raised his glass briefly. To 60 years, he said. And to family. Our eyes met again. No smiles, no apologies, just quiet acknowledgement. It wasn't peace. Not yet, but it was a start. Dinner felt like a scene I'd already lived, except this time. I wasn't the boy being scolded. The table was long, filled with relatives I barely remembered. The clinking of forks and murmurs blended into one dull hum. My father sat at the head, older now, smaller somehow. His eyes flicked toward me, then away again. Everything all right? Emma whispered beside me. Yeah, I said. Just thinking. About leaving, about staying. She smiled faintly. Progress. Across the table, my mother watched me more than she ate. Every few minutes, she'd start to speak, then stop. Finally, she said, You've done well, Ethan. Thanks, I said quietly. You always were stubborn. I learned that from Dad. He cleared his throat but didn't respond. A family friend leaned over. Ethan, I saw your brand in that magazine last week. Beautiful work. Appreciate it, I said, Dot muttered. He's always had steady hands. I turned to him. You never said that before. He looked at his plate. Didn't know I needed to. The air thickened. Nobody spoke for a few seconds. Then my mother tried to lighten the mood. You must be busy running such a big company now. Busy's an understatement, I said. But I like it. What's it like? Emma asked. Running something that big? Lonely, I said, honestly. Everyone thinks success feels loud. It doesn't. It's quiet, too quiet sometimes. My father glanced up at me. Quiet isn't bad. It used to be. He nodded slightly, like he understood, but we both knew he didn't. Not completely. After the plates were cleared, Mom brought out the cake. 60 years, she said softly. Dad smiled thinly. Didn't think I'd make it this far. You've still got plenty left, she said. He raised his glass halfway. Two-time, I suppose. Everyone chuckled awkwardly, and after a pause, he looked at me, and to my son. My fork froze, he continued, voice rough. You did well, better than I ever thought. The room went quiet. Even the clock seemed to stop ticking. I didn't know what to feel. Pride, anger, pity. Maybe all of it, thanks, I said finally. That means something. Eyes glistened. It means a lot, Ethan. I nodded slowly. I know. She reached across the table, squeezing my hand. We were hard on you. I was hard to believe in. No, she said firmly. We just didn't see what you saw. Dad sighed. We thought we were protecting you. Maybe we were just afraid. Afraid of what? I asked. Of being wrong, he admitted. His honesty hit harder than any insult he'd ever thrown. I learned from the best, I said. Even if it was through pain. Silence swallowed the table. Heavy. Necessary. No one clapped. No one smiled. That felt right after a while. Emma whispered, That was the most real thing anyone said all night. Maybe too real, I said. She smiled. That's what makes it good. When dessert ended, people started leaving. Dad stayed seated, staring at his glass. You heading back soon? He asked quietly. Tomorrow? Busy man now? Trying to be? He gave a short laugh. You remind me of myself. I used to take that as an insult. Now it feels like balance. He looked at me for a long time. I was hard on you because I thought pressure made diamonds. It also breaks glass, I said. He winced, then nodded. Guess I got lucky. You didn't break. Not completely, I said. We stood together at the doorway later, the guests gone, the house dim. Mom hugged me again, tighter this time. Don't wait another 10 years to visit, she whispered. I won't. Dad extended his hand. Take care, son. I shook it. You too. As I left, I turned once more. They stood in the doorway, small against the yellow light. They didn't wave. They didn't speak. But for the first time, their silence didn't hurt. It understood. The house had grown quiet after everyone left. Only the ticking clock and faint hum of the fridge remained. I was about to head out when I heard his voice behind me. Ethan turned. My father stood by the hallway, one hand resting on the wall like he needed it to stay steady. Got a minute? He asked. Sure. He nodded toward the backyard. Let's talk. The night air was cool. The same old wooden chairs were still there, creaking like tired memories. We sat in silence for a while. He cleared his throat. I wasn't fair to you, son. I looked at him waiting. I pushed too hard. Spoke too little. I thought I was doing the right thing. I smiled faintly. Neither was life. But we both learned, didn't we? He sighed. You learned faster. I had to. He stared at the ground. You know, when you left, your mother cried for days. I pretended it didn't bother me. Truth is, it did. I just didn't know how to fix it. You don't have to fix it, I said quietly. It's already done. He shook his head. You should hate me. I did once. He looked up sharply. And now? Now I understand. He blinked. Understand what? That you were scared? That you didn't know how to love someone who wanted something different? He swallowed hard. I was scared, yes. Scared you'd fail. Scared I'd fail you? You didn't fail me, I said. You just taught me the hard way. He gave a dry laugh. Guess that's our family tradition. He smiled. Seems so. He hesitated, then asked, Do you ever regret leaving? Not leaving, I said, but I regret how long it took to come back. He nodded slowly. Me too. The wind rustled the trees. For once, we didn't fill the silence. He finally said, You turned out better than I deserved. I shook my head. You turned out human. That's enough. He exhaled, long and shaky. I don't know how to thank you. Don't, I said. Just be okay. He smiled weakly. You sound like your mother. Good she always made more sense than we did. He chuckled. You're not wrong. He stood. He extended his hand, but I hugged him instead. For a second he froze, then his arms wrapped around me, firm and trembling. I'm proud of you, he whispered. I didn't need to hear it anymore, but it still mattered. Thanks, Dad. When I stepped back inside, Mom was waiting at the door. You two talked? She asked. Yeah. Her eyes softened. He needed that. So did I. She touched my cheek like I was still 17. Don't stay away this long again. I won't. Outside. Sophia was leaning against the car, arms crossed, smiling softly under the porch light. Took you long enough, she said. Had to finish the hardest chapter. She raised an eyebrow. And I think it's done. Good, she whispered. You did it. I shook my head. I didn't, we did, she smiled. Then let's go home. As we drove off, I glanced at the house shrinking in the mirror. The same walls that once felt like prison bars now looked small. Harmless Sophia reached over, resting her hand on mine. You okay? For the first time, I said, Yeah. The night stretched open ahead of us. Quiet, wide, full of promise. Forgiving them didn't fix the past, but it freed me from it, and that was enough. It started quietly, like most good things do. A month after the dinner, my mother called. We were thinking of visiting, she said carefully. If that's all right, of course I said. Sunday. Sunday's good, she replied, like she wasn't sure if she believed me that Sunday. They came, not with judgment, not with expectations, but with fruit and awkward smiles. Dad looked around my house like he didn't recognize me anymore. You really built all this? Every piece, I said. He nodded. Looks strong. It's home, I said simply. Sophia greeted them with tea. You two must be proud, she said warmly. Mom smiled faintly. We're getting there, Dad chuckled. Some of us take longer to admit when we're wrong. I raised an eyebrow. You admitting something? Maybe, he said, taking a sip. Tea's good. Complimenting the tea doesn't count as an apology, I teased. He smirked. One step at a time. Each Sunday after that, they came again. Sometimes we talked, sometimes we didn't. The silence wasn't sharp anymore, it was soft, respectful. One afternoon, Dad watched me adjust a new prototype on the table. Still making those by hand? Some things shouldn't change, I said. He nodded slowly. You remind me of your grandfather. He never stopped working either. Guess it runs in the family, he smiled. You got the better parts of it. Mom joined us with a tray of cookies. Don't let him fool you, Ethan. Your father never sits still either, I've noticed, I said. Dad grinned. Old habits. The conversation drifted between work, memories, and laughter, things we'd never shared before. Later, when Sophia stepped away to answer a call, Mom leaned in. She's wonderful, she whispered. She is, I said. She reminds me of what I prayed for when you left. I blinked. You prayed for me? Every night, she said softly. That you'd find someone who saw you the way we should have. I couldn't speak. I just nodded, heart heavy and full at once. Dad looked at me then, quiet but certain. You proved us wrong in the best way. I wasn't trying to, I said. I just wanted to build a life that felt right. And you did, he said. Better than we ever could have imagined. The words didn't feel like victory, they felt like peace, that evening. We ate together at my table, the one I'd built myself from oak and patience. Dad poured himself another cup of tea and looked around. You know, he said, this table could outlive us all. That's the idea, I said. He chuckled. You always think long-term. I learned from people who only thought short-term, I said, smiling. Mom laughed quietly. That's fair. Sophia returned and sat beside me. You all look comfortable, she said. We are, Mom replied. For a while, the only sound was forks against plates, the clink of cups, the rhythm of peace. No speeches, no apologies. Just presence. After they left that night, I stood by the door watching their car disappear down the street. Sophia slipped her hand into mine. You okay? She asked. Yeah, I said. It feels quiet, the good kind. The right kind, she smiled. Took you long enough to find it. Guess I had to earn it. Later, as I cleared the dishes, I caught my reflection in the window. Older, calmer. Complete, the silence of the house wasn't lonely anymore. It was full of respect, of understanding, earned the hard way. I thought back to that night when I was 17. Standing outside my parents' room, hearing them laugh, the same sound that once broke me, now felt distant, harmless. I smiled to myself and whispered, they once laughed at my hunger. Now they taste the food I earned.